Good rising, brethren. This is Big Judah coming to you guys in California. Before I begin, give all praises to the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledgement to Yahweh Shai. I pray the Most High blesses this lesson this evening, gives more knowledge and understanding of the events of the past, in order to understand events that are currently happening on the earth. So we get a much better understanding of the things that are soon to come on the earth. As you can see, chaos is brewing worldwide. Like we've been saying, our people are the time clock. Our people are the key. As we have now, finished up our 400 years, Most High has given us more knowledge and understanding. Most High has given us the knowledge to be able to see through the lies of the other nations. As we continue to grow, and we're growing daily, immensely, that is evidenced by the events that are happening all over the earth. Looking at the videos coming on about the emergency meetings with NATO, how pretty much the Britons told Aragon, leader of Turkey, that you have an ultimatum to either fight with the Americans, fight with NATO, and they're going to hold them to those agreements. So NATO's going to be holding Turkey to the agreements that they made with them to force them to fight with the Americans and the Western powers. All this equipment being moved, being placed. And it just shows you how, look how quickly, which, they've been talking about how this has been going on for a few weeks, and this is pretty much like I said, we had our New Year, we had our Passover, we had our Feast of Unleavened Bread. And as these, as our feast days have been coming, more and more destruction has been just happening worldwide. Now you have the event going on in Minnesota right now, where you had the young man that was shot down by the police. The police officer said, she thought she was grabbing her taser and grabbed her gun on accident and killed him. See, how many times are these events going to continue to happen? And then they just get a little slap on the wrist and get to walk off. See, I've been hearing a lot of these Christians talking about, they see the destruction coming, but then they want you to do the what is it? Recite the sinner's prayer. I don't know. I've read the Bible many times. I haven't seen a sinner's prayer in the Bible. That must be something they just made up again. See, how can you pray to the white Jesus that has been responsible for all the death and destruction, rape, rob, or murder from the onset of the Europeans stepping foot on our lands? And now when it's time to pay, you think you can just come up with some sinner's prayer that has nothing to do with our scriptures, and you get to walk away from all this. That's the thing with the Gentiles. They want to have it both ways. They want to say, I love my country. I love America. I love everything about it. But then in the next breath, talk about all the horrible things that America's done. And then in the next breath say, oh, we can just read, just say this sinner's prayer and we'll all be good. That's not how it's going to work. That's not how it worked for us. I think I did a sinner's prayer when I was in seventh or eighth grade. I still had to live through a whole bunch of tough times, and it wasn't like it was easy street for me. And we know after we said Jesus, our situations haven't changed, and neither will yours. Just because you're saying a sinner's prayer and thinking that's going to fix it all, trust me, it's not. See, all that sinner's prayer has done is helped you to be able to just forget about all the things that you've done with us, saying that Jesus has forgiven it all, which Caesarea doesn't have that kind of power anyways. I'm here looking at the news and talking about Dante Wright's death ruled a homicide, and people were out here protesting. Now, we're going to get into some more things. Like I said, World War III is right there. The other nations are starting to see it, and they're still talking about how well America is going to be destroyed, and then America because Israel's I mean America is not in prophecy. America is not in the Bible. So we know that America is going to be destroyed, and then Israel's going to be on its own, and then God's going to have to protect Israel. Yeah, I can't believe you guys still believe this. It's just you guys just refuse to believe that we're the people, and you still with no proof you want to believe that that they're the people. And I just love it, It says, so you mean to say now, okay, that ish is just what is it? They can just come up with a Messiah now whenever they want to here at the end. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's okay. Like, they don't seem like they're really struggling too hard when they kind of just chilling, hanging out, and they can just, hey, it's time for a new Messiah. Just throw out a new Messiah now. They're not struggling. They haven't been struggling. You know. I said so. It doesn't even make any sense. But the thing is going to happen is it's not that America is going to be destroyed. America and your access to America is going to be destroyed. That's what's going to be destroyed. So yeah, to you, your access to our money, or your access to our resources, the access to you guys have in your hands in our pockets, that's what's going to be taken away. That's what's going to be destroyed. Why would the Most High? This is a paradise here. The Americas are a paradise. America has been the muscle behind, everything that's been happening with the priest of Mahan. Why would the Most High just destroy all of this because you guys came over here and didn't know how to, you mismanaged everything. So since you mismanaged everything, that you're gonna get, and you've done all these heinous things, but the Most High is gonna destroy this paradise because he gave you guys rulership over for a few hundred years. Now he's gonna sweep you off the land, and he's going to rejuvenate the lands once again for his people who it was given to in the first place. Now, the sister actually talked to me again. Like I said, we talked a few days ago about that whole business aspect and us trying to get our minds right and get a good understanding of that. The Most High led me back to a book that I shared with you guys a couple of years ago. We're going to look at this one really fast, and you're going to see how the priests of Mahan treated. We see when they got the blessing of being the hunters. See, they got that blessing to be the hunters. They got the blessing by the Most High to hunt us on our lands and kill us off. But when that blessing is given, there's more to it than just having the power over the land and the occupants of the land. We're gonna check that out real quick. This is the book right here, The Dogs of the Conquest. Absolutely amazing book. A lot of great information. Okay. A lot of great information. One of my favorite book. Well, it's not a favorite because it's a favorite because the information they hid is there's a lot of it in here. So it's very informational. And we're gonna go ahead and get into this really quick. But this is just confirmation of what the sister shared with me a few days ago, and how the other nations, when they were given the blessing, how they dealt with this responsibility. And it seems as if the Most High was showing me how we need to get our minds right to get ready to get this blessing given back to us once again. It's one of the pictures here, okay, of the dogs. And we're going to read a little bit right here. If you've been with me for a few years, you've already heard this, but now you're going to hear it with the information about how we're supposed to handle being the hunters. This is how the Gentiles handled it, and their priests were the ones who were in control of a lot of this information. and setting up things, setting up the business aspect of this right here. Okay. So let's see here. I want to go talk about the supplies. Okay. In the Indies, Columbus had found a kind of Eden, okay, whose natives seemed to bend willingly to Spanish domination. Thus, he, in all probability, did not contemplate bringing dogs with him even on his second voyage. The supplies and equipment of the fleet, however, okay, were left by the sovereigns to the discretion of their personal chaplain, the shrewd Archdeacon of Seville, Juan Rodriguez de Fonseca. Okay, priest of Mahan, right here. So let's see how they got their ships all set up to go over to the New World for the second time. Okay, this prelate's perception of the true purpose of the venture and his knowledge of the Spanish character made him keenly aware that the Renaissance crusaders would find dogs indispensable in a pagan world. Now, remember, pagan for them didn't have that negative undertone. They knew about our special places of worship, the ley lines, and they were going to just build on top, okay, of those ley lines just like they did in Europe, okay, and Ireland, all right? The monarchs specified a kind of loving treatment, okay, of the Indians on Columbus's second voyage and their speedy conversion to Christianity. At the same time, however, they stressed the settlement of the land. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. They stressed the settlement of the land, the organization of trade centers, and a careful garnering of material resources. So they're setting up businesses. They already know that they're going to get the people. They already know the people are going to be given to them. And they already know the land is going to be given to them. So they're trying to set up businesses. They're trying to set up an organization. So when the Most High kind of puts that in our minds, that should let you know how close we are to getting our resources back. It was one thing just to get the knowledge understanding of who we are and the history of it. But now it's like, okay, you're about to get these resources once again. You're gonna have to set up, these centers. You're gonna have to set up these businesses. You're going to set up, you know, how we're going to run things through the power of the Most High. So see, these priests were doing exactly the same thing. They were totally aware what they were coming over here for. So like I said, Fonseca was aware that to carry out this, second capitulation successfully, some compromise had to be made between desire for material gain and evangelical piety. So, see, they're setting up for that material gain, as we need to as well. As we get to set up again, like I said, the Most High is going to set his people up once again to be the heads once again. So again, let's read that one more time. At the same time, however, they stress the settlement of the land, the organization of trade centers, and a careful garnering of material resources. Fonseca was aware that to carry out the second capitulation successfully, some compromise had to be made between desire for material gain and evangelical piety. Such profits as the crown expected, he knew, would have to be obtained eventually by means of enforced labor and human bondage. He surmised that though the Indians might be as pacific as Columbus had described them, they would not adjust to manual labor without coercion. In consequence, he made certain that when Columbus's splendid fleet sailed in September 1493, it was adequately equipped with men, arms, and a pack of 20 purebred mastiffs and greyhounds. So they were setting up, like I said, for business. Now, they're talking about how they're going to have to have forced manual labor, and that the natives might not actually, want that or capitulate to that, right? Let's read that part one more time. Such profits as the crown expected, he knew, would have to be obtained eventually by means of enforced labor and human bondage. He surmised that though the Indians might be as specific as Columbus had described them, they would not adjust, to manual labor without coercion. So these thoughts and these, messages the Most High is sending just let you know how close we are. We're not just going to be happy with just knowing, hey, if you guys can just, us just, you guys acknowledging who we are. Like those days are done. We're not even worried about you guys acknowledging the truth. And see, before when we were first getting into this, that's what we wanted. Your guys' approval, the other nations' approval, the other nations' acknowledgement. See, now the Most High is like, okay, you're about to get all your blessings back. But with those blessings comes responsibility. And with those blessings that we're going to get back, that means that, there's going to be other things everything you've done to us is going to happen to you. Now, that goes exactly what you guys did to us as far as forced labor, coercion, however you guys want to say it in a nice way. That's going to happen to you. You're going to build up our kingdom. We built up yours. You use our labor for free for hundreds and hundreds of years. You never acknowledged us. You never acknowledged anything. So Most High says, what you did to us is what is going to happen to you. Let's read really quick again. Let me find it here. Let's go to Jeremiah 30 and 16. That forced labor or coercion that you guys love to, use is going to be used against you. You're going to have to build up our kingdom. Okay? Jeremiah 30 and 16. Therefore, all they that devour thee shall be devoured, and all thine adversaries, every one of them, shall go into captivity, and they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. So you're not getting out of this with the sinner's prayer. Sinner's prayer is not going to save you. Only thing that can give you some kind of help with the Most High is if He opens up your eyes to see the truth, you follow the ways of the Most High, and you cleave to the Most High's chosen people. As you see, they have the priests of Mahan setting up the businesses, setting up the trade routes, claiming the land, telling us to claim all the land, setting up all the business. That's what the priests were doing for the priests of Mahan. They already knew they were coming over here to enslave our people. But see, this is showing you how that's going to turn right back on you. As the resources and all of the blessings come back on us, then that means that you're going to have to pay back that manual labor. So it just shows you that there's more to it than just, Jeremiah 16 and 16, when it goes from being fishers to hunters, there's more to it than just that. Let's go to Jeremiah 16 and 16 real quick. Behold, I will send for many fishers, saith the Most High, and they shall fish them. And after will I send for many hunters, and they shall hunt them from every mountain, and from every hill, and out of the holes of the rocks. And that's exactly what you did to us. And while you were doing that, you're setting up business, you're setting up your power structure. And that's how the Most High is going to do with us. He's going to set up the power structure of His people. He's going to be setting up the power structure that He intended for His people. That's all part of this as well. And it's not going to be under the Edomite or Gentile system anymore. And as you can see, like how all the drum beats of war are just getting louder and louder as we grow, as we get more understanding, as we grow, the drum beats of war are picking up day by day. And I'm checking some other information I'm going to share. And it's all about, and you can tell who's who right now. And it's all about, it happens as it manifests itself in the spirit world. It's manifesting itself right here as far as understanding. being brought out of ignorance. Though the ones who are brought out of ignorance are the ones that the Most High is dealing with now. This is from the Testimony of Truth in the Nag Hammadi, page 619. It is these people that Christ will bring to heaven, since they have renounced ignorance and advanced to knowledge. Okay? And that's what it's all about right now. The ones that have advanced to knowledge, the ones that have renounced ignorance. And as you can see right now, there's very few that have renounced ignorance. They're still stuck, you know, with Cesare, with white Jesus, good times Jesus. Jesus is going to get me out of every single thing. Now we're seeing World War III's coming. Just bust out that sinner's prayer right now. They've been using that for how many years, how many decades have been using that sinner's prayer. And even though our people have been, deep in these churches, nothing has ever gotten better for them. It's always hold out for another time. Forgive the police officer for pulling, their gun instead of their taser. Be the first one to run out there and forgive. No, 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 not anymore. Not anymore. You know, Most High is going to have mercy on the Most High, on His people. All these lies and all this stuff is going on right now. Like I said, you can see that all these churches have lied to these people. Everything that they've been taught is now being exposed to be lies. All these easy ways of paying for sins, of just saying a couple of idle words, is not going to work. Them setting up laws that their people always get off, they're still going to have to pay. None of this stuff is going to work for them right now. You know, and you said Ish is acting like they're oppressed, and that all these things that are supposed to happen in the future are to for them. But how are they oppressed right now? So they having it so easy they can just roll out a new Messiah right now. They got the money, they got the prestige, they got the United States giving them money, ungodly sums of money, giving them military equipment, everything. So, like I said, we're the ones that have been oppressed. We're the ones that had everything taken away from them. Their priests have been setting up businesses. Their priests have been setting up our resources in order to give them all of the exploits of the world. So it makes sense that the Most High right now is giving us a message to prepare ourselves for the blessings that are soon to come. World War III is at the doorstep. Meetings everywhere to last 24 hours. People setting up military equipment moving. People been giving ultimatums to decide where your loyalties lie. Because these are the things that are happening right now. They're not admitting, they're not putting any of this stuff. Very little of it is in the press. Not talking about it. Pretty much talking about the ultimatums be given from Russia to the United States, back and forth. Gentiles, it's just showing them how, saying that the World War III and America will be destroyed. They have no understanding. These are the Most High's chosen lands. They're not going to be destroyed. The Most High will protect them. This is, like I said, this is the Most High story, not man's. And when you just ignore the 400 to 500 years of all the things that happened to our people, that just shows you, like I said, you have no understanding of prophecy and how things are going to be going down. You hide all the fact that you've set up businesses, you hunted our people down with your dogs and with your people, with your horses. You hid all this history. Now the Most High, like I said, that's just a huge thing for him to tell us now to prepare ourselves for this responsibility. Prepare ourselves to be able to, manage these resources and everything else that he's about to bestow upon us. And then this comes out again where that's exactly what they did. When the Most High gave them access to these lands, that's exactly what that Most High had them do the same thing. Come over here, get the resources, set up their businesses, set up their trade routes, get control of the navy, get control of the waterways. Most High gave them those blessings. And he's going to give us those blessings once again. Yeah, and you're saying America won't be there to protect Ish anymore. Yeah, you're right. I said, and Ish won't have their opportunity to get in our pockets anymore either. Remember, all these other countries were very poor before they came over here. So that money and prestige is about to be taken, about to be cut off. We're about to be telling them, get their hands out of our pockets. And then what are they going to do? On top of the fact they're going to be fighting with each other, destroying each other. They would not be able to suck our resources dry anymore and then perpetuate themselves to be, these high upstanding people. Not going to happen. So, like I said, they won't be able to put their hands in our pockets anymore. So that's why it's all making sense right here with Joel 2 and 18. Then will the Lord be jealous for his land and pity his people. That's where we're at right now. Yea, the Lord will answer and say unto his people, behold, I will send you corn and wine and oil, and ye shall be satisfied therewith. And I will no more make you a reproach among the heathen. See, that's exactly what the heathen, do with us. They make us a reproach and just forget about what they've done to us for the last 400 to 500 years. They don't talk about that. They don't want to bring it up. They act like we still deserved it, and that there's no payment that's going to be, held from them. They're going to be able to do whatever they want, and they're never going to have to pay for it. It says, but I will remove far off from you the northern army. Okay, we got an army right here, right now. Now it's looking like World War III is right around the corner. So now a lot of their military equipment is going to be taken away from these lands in order to go and fight a war over there with Russia and their allies. And will drive him into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea, and his hinder part toward the utmost sea. And his stink shall come up, and his ill savor shall come up, because he hath done great things. Now see, they came over here to the west, stole, you know, our land, our people, everything else. But at the end, it's like the Most High says he's going to take that army that they brought over here and make it go back to where it came from. Does that not make sense? Sweeping them off the land, World War III, fighting with Russia and their allies. And what makes even more sense is right now is that, you know, the American military is stretched all over the place because they've already had like all these agreements there. When Russia starts to move and take over Ukraine, then China's going to move on Taiwan, and there's going to be other fronts all over the place. So if there's all these fronts that open up and all these different areas where they're going to have to fight, they're going to be stretched even thinner, and they're going to have their military all over the place. So that makes sense as to how, Joel 2 is supposed to play out right there. But I will remove far off from you the northern army, and will drive them into a land barren and desolate, with his face toward the east sea. So you got the military all over the place. It's going to be stretched thin, fighting wars on multiple fronts. Kind of sounds like what's going on right there in verse 20. Okay. 21. Fear not, O land, and be glad, and rejoice, for the Lord will do great things. Be not afraid, ye beasts of the field, for the pastures of the wilderness do spring. For the tree beareth her fruit, the fig tree and the vine do yield their strength. Be glad then, ye children of Zion, and rejoice in the Lord your God, for he hath given you the former rain. Does that sound like America being destroyed right now? That's not what that sounds like to me. It's gonna go back to what it was like before the Gentiles were brought over here to administer our punishment. That makes much more sense. But see, when you don't have the people right, you don't have the land right, then the Gentiles will say, "Oh, well, America's just going to be destroyed." That's what happens when all of our lands and everything else has been hidden. Who we are has been hidden. You see that, and how it's all kind of working with World War III. And let's read Isaiah 49 and 26. I will feed them that oppress thee with their own flesh, and they shall be drunken with their own blood. Okay, all flesh will know that I, the Lord, am thy Savior and thy Redeemer, the mighty one of Jacob. So you got to know who you've been oppressing. Once you understand that, then these prophecies will make more sense to you. Ish has not been oppressed like we have. Ish has not had their land taken over by someone else, and they were made rich by taking over their lands. That's exactly what happened over here. And the Most High said He's going to give us all of that back. So He didn't say He's going to be destroying all of the Americas. He's just going to be taking you and your influence and your armies away from here, sweeping you off the lands. So the whole business side of it, thinking about that, getting our understanding from that, seeing how they did that when they came over here, and seeing how the Most High is going to not only give us our lands and our resources, but to give us the power to control our resources again. Okay, so that's what we need to be getting prepared for. All praise is the Most High Yahweh. Acknowledgement to the earthly mother. Who is wisdom? Who is the Holy Spirit? Acknowledge Yahweh Shai. Shalom.